Meanwhile, so see, I don't see that as a path, but that's the path that most people who know me say, yeah, that's the path for you, right? You got to do what you got to do, right? You got to survive. So that's what folks do. You have to get a job, and anybody can see that the digital marketing space is, no longer viable, and so yeah, that's the path. My thinking is, yeah, no, because I know what's going on up here, man. I know what I have to share. I just haven't done a good job of it, of sharing it, and um, and I believe that I should be able to somehow make a living at sharing what I know because I think it's valuable. But I got to package it, right? You got to put it in a package. And that's what Dane of Earth is. This is me trying to package myself for consumption by the marketplace so that I can, set up a little turnstile and, make and generate income. Because I gotta survive. I have to survive before I can share much. And and let me get back to this video that this guy was talking. So this was another point I wanted to make, and I next time I'm gonna go ahead and write out my points, and I'm gonna tape them to the wall, and I'm gonna be able to articulate more smoothly what I'm saying. But he's saying you got to be authentic. That's all. You got to be authentic. Just say what you're really feeling and, express yourself. But the challenge for me is, and this guy is so cool, so sanguine, so chill, man. He comes across really well. Me, I'm not so sanguine. I'm in a little bit of, I don't want to use the word distress. Well, here, okay. I'm going to put it this way. And here's, I think, the value that I'm bringing that I think people could learn from me. It's just about anybody else who is in my position in life would be extremely distressed, would be catatonic, man. Most people could not deal with what I'm dealing with. I hate saying that. That sounds so dumb. I'm sitting here saying that with my beautiful view behind me, sitting here over a vineyard. How ridiculous. But it's not my vineyard. It's, I'm just a guest here, and I have no home. I'm a chronic guest wherever I go, and that's tough. It's tough, okay, to be in my situation, but I know a lot of people have it really, really, really tough. But one thing that people do seem to be impressed by is the fact that I do manage to keep my spirits up for the most part in spite of my situation. And they don't even understand the full context of my situation. People who know me know how. All right, so here I'm going to just say the deep, dark secret, right? And I've been thinking about this. I can't just expose this, to just like right off the bat. Here's my dark secret. But for folks who, stick with me and really seem to care and are, following me, and all right, to be blunt about it, I'll set up my Patreon and I'll have my levels, and people at the highest level who are supporting me, they get to hear my deep, dark secrets. Not everybody, okay? But, and this is part of what's prevented me from doing this, is that I'm going, I can't hardly talk about myself without exposing my secrets, my dark secrets. And How do I even get started? But here's the thing. You know what? I've told myself this 100 times, and I still struggle with it, with the mechanics. Here's what I'm trying to say. This is like one of my very first videos, and I'm already talking about my deep, dark secret. But that doesn't mean that I have to show it first. I mean, I split this up, and I recorded it today. I'll tuck that away. I'll tuck it away for future reference, right? For the supporters. But just in order for me to go along with the flow, my narrative that I'm trying to express, I can't sit there and just say, oh, I'll talk about that later. So I'm just going to get it out there now, and I'll talk about it as much as I want to freely, and then I'll slice and dice the videos and show the really good stuff, the really engaging stuff that makes it sound like I got it all figured out and I know just what I'm doing, and I'm very articulate and profound and all that, and that I'll put out there for the public. That's what I'll share on social media and TikTok and all that. And this, part where I'm, not so sure about things, I'll hold that in the archives. Anyway, so yeah, I was about to talk about my deep, dark secret and how people and why people are impressed with me, because my deep, dark secret is that I am broke. I am the brokest man you've ever seen, probably. What do I mean? And you're going, what do you mean? What about all the people on the streets, man, living in tents? Those people are broker than you. And I mean, broke, I guess, is a relative term, and there's different ways to be broke. But let me spell it out really clearly. I have zero assets. I'm 63 years old. I have no money in the bank. I have zero assets. Nothing. I don't own a car. I don't have health insurance. I don't have any savings, any retirement. I'm living on Social Security, which doesn't pay the rent. Hence, I'm floating. I'm couch surfing effectively. But it's more than that. It's way worse than that, if you can imagine. Because not only am I broke now, I've been broke my entire life. To put a finer point on it, I have never had a positive net worth in my life. In my adult life. When I was a kid, we worked in the bean fields and the strawberry fields, and we would earn some money over the summer, and we grew up on a farm. We didn't have much money, and the money that we earned picking beans and strawberries went to pay for our school clothes for the next year. So, all through school, that's what I was doing. But in high school, I got a job working on a farm, and I was earning some more money. And that was in my last couple years of high school. I had a little bit of money. Like, I was able to buy a stereo when I was a senior, maybe even a junior. I was able to buy a stereo record player and all that. But I didn't have much money. And then I started school, college. And, I had to take out student loans, very first term, right? So I was in debt, and I never got out. I mean, of course, I paid those early student loans off long ago. But I dropped out of college after 2 years because I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I know who I am, and I knew it back then. I knew what I wanted to be. I believed in myself. That's what Steve Jobs did. That's what Bill Gates did. Man, that's what you do. I didn't drop out of school because Bill Gates did and and Steve Jobs did. I mean, that wasn't my thought process. My thought process was, I had a business idea that I knew was a killer business idea. And in my young mind, I thought time is wasting. If I don't start this business now, somebody else will, and they'll get the scoop on me. I got to get going. I don't have time to waste here in college, especially when I knew what college was all about. All it was about was prepping me to go take a job in a big corporation. I did not want that. I didn't want to try to work my way up the corporate ladder and blah, blah, blah. That just sounded like death to me. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I dropped out of school. This is 1982. And that was, in fact, the highest unemployment at that point in time that there had ever been since the Great Depression. I didn't realize that at the time. I was only 18, I was 20 years old by that time. But I didn't realize, wow, this is the highest unemployment there's been since the Great Depression. And unemployment that was never surpassed until COVID, okay? So, in other words, the unemployment, I don't remember what the rate was. It was just skyrocketing, but I didn't realize that when I quit school. Anyway, so things were pretty rough, and I spent all of my 20s and 30s trying to be an entrepreneur. And yeah, I really learned the hard way that, boy, if you don't have money and you don't have any connections and you're an introvert, man, you got your work cut out for you. I didn't realize. So anyway, I didn't even start my career in the digital marketing space until I was almost 40. I was like 38 years old when I got my first job. Is that right? Yeah, 38 years old when I got my first job in my actual career. So, I was already over the hill. I'm working in Silicon Valley for high-tech, startups. Man, if you're 38, man, you're already starting to peak out there, right? You should be a director by now. But I started off as a manager, and I'm not going to go through the whole litany of my job career now, but I'll just say that, being in the marketing department of a high-tech startup is a pretty dicey situation, right? I got laid off through no fault of my own many times, just because the company, whatever, the investors got cold feet, the company blew a big project, and yada yada. I could go on and on about the various reasons, and I was constantly having to switch jobs. And unfortunately, I and here's another little thing about my job search. And I can sum it up. I never once in my life, well, no, I'll put it this way. Every single job I've ever taken in my entire life, the reason I took that job was because it was the only job offer I had at a point when I desperately needed it. Every single time. I can only think of one time when I proactively kind of left a company, but that's because I had a super asshole boss who was just like a narcissist abuser. And I just wasn't going to take it. So, I mean, theoretically, I could have stayed in that job, but I proactively left that job. Plus I hadn't had a raise in like 3 years, and it's like, come on, man. So anyway, so that's my career, and I know that doesn't reflect very well on me. You got to be going, wow, this guy's a real loser, isn't he, man? Can't hold a job. I don't know. Fact is, I was just a fish out of water. That's all. I never wanted to have a career. I never wanted to be some low-level functionary in some company doing tedious tasks, menial tasks for menial companies. I wanted to create something new. I wanted to create something awesome. And none of the jobs I ever got gave me anything close to a chance to do anything really cool and awesome. So, if I'm being perfectly honest, I felt like I was doing a pretty good job of pretending like, yeah, I'm a good, gung-ho employee and great attitude and get along with my fellow workers and all that kind of stuff, and motivated and trying to do my best. And I mean, I think, and I did. At the same time, I can't help thinking that, that my feeling that I should be doing something else must have come through, maybe factored into, but who knows? Who the hell knows? Bottom line is, here I am, in a pretty impossible situation, right? Because being broke is incredibly isolating. You can't go do things. Everything costs money. You can't step outside your door these days without it costing you some money. You want to get together with somebody else, go have coffee. Oh, that's going to cost me $12, between the coffee and the croissant. Yeah, I can't do it. At a minimum, right? Friends inviting you out. I mean, but of course, those days are long, long. It's been so long since people invite me out, for social things, because, your world just shrinks, right? I don't reach out to people. People don't reach out to me. So I'm, pretty much isolated here. And I don't mean to sound too extreme when I say that, because I do have some friends, a handful of friends, that, I really cherish. I really value those folks, because those folks get me. But, I'm 63 years old. I got a handful of friends. Good God, man. That's pretty sad. Anyway, but look, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, I'm super grateful, because there's a lot, in spite of all that financial hardship, I got so much going for me. Like, I'm healthy. I feel good. I feel fine. I don't have pain. I mean, I'm 63. I imagine I'll probably start, I get a little pains here and there, but my stomach doesn't give me trouble. I don't get headaches. I feel fine. So I'm so grateful for that, right? I mean, there's no amount of money. If you're in pain, I would take my situation over someone who suffers from chronic pain. So, but it's a chronic pain of a different type, to be utterly, utterly broke with no prospects. And, so it could be worse, but it could be a lot better. And I want to make it better. But more than that, and I just got to make this point really clear, because it's not about me. I know I'm sitting here talking and all about me, but it's not all about me. I care about the world. So let me bring it back to Dane of Earth. What's Dane of Earth all about? Dane of Earth is about me as an earthling, but with a mind that's, my mind is all about planet Earth, right? I care about all of humanity. I care about Earth, and I care about the universe, right? I just kind of got a universal mind, but the focus is Earth, man. That's the problem for me to solve. I want to make a heaven on Earth. I want to help to create a heaven on Earth. Okay, that's my mission. Well, how do you do that? That's what Dane of Earth is about. Okay, I'm just an earthling who's trying to help save planet Earth. And that's a tall order, because if you haven't noticed, and I'm sure you have, if you're watching this video, we're in a pretty tough spot. We're in a really tough spot. Humanity is. There's a great quote. I'll quote it elsewhere when I have the guy's name in front of me. I can't remember. A famous sociobiologist who said something to the effect of, we are dealing with Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. That's what we're dealing with right now. And his point about that is, our emotions are all, built in. They're baked in to our physiology through hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, right? Generations and generations, thousands of generations, living in this way. And so our dating and our everything about the way we operate is with instinct. And most people are just going on instinct, man, and just not really thinking it through. Meanwhile, our institutions, right, they were all developed during hundreds of years ago, and with a different mentality and a whole different world. And they're set up around control, man. They're set up to form a control structure around humanity, and for the good, right? I mean, without our institutions, without all the inventions and everything that have come over the centuries, we wouldn't be here where we are. And we have an opportunity right now to transform into a whole new reality, right? A whole new type of civilization. We're at that point. We've arrived. We're there, man. It's time to transform to a whole new type of civilization. But the vast majority of people are stuck, it seems to me, stuck in their old paradigms, stuck in their I'd love to get more articulate. I'll get better. I'm going to get better and better at this stuff. See, I'm trying to think of the right words, and I hate when I can't come up with the right word. I want to just flow. But anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, what I'm trying to do is help people break out of their straitjackets, their mental straitjackets that they're in, so that they can realize and can adjust. Because civilization is going to change. Humanity is going to change, right? And I mean, I say it's going to change. It's changing. It's been changing, but we're getting ready for a step change, right? Catharsis, a transformation, radical, right? And it's coming. It's in the process, and you don't want to get left behind. You really don't. It's going to be a bummer. It's going to be a big bummer for the folks who say, no, I want to keep the institutions. I want to keep the traditions. I want to keep life the way it always has been. And I refuse to change. Those folks are going to find it getting tougher and tougher and tougher for them. Oh, it's going to be so sad. Because they're attached, right? They're attached to this way of life. And they're going to be watching their way of life disintegrating, So I wouldn't want to be them in that time. And I want to help wake people up. I want to help raise awareness of what we are, what's happening, the world is, where it's going, and what's important, what matters. Um, I, and it's interesting because I think people deep down, most people know what matters, but this system, the systems that we're part of, are have programmed us to deny what matters, and instead to operate on the premise of, what does the system require of me? That's what folks are driven by. You know, that's people's driving motivation. How do I get ahead in this system? This system wants me to fight and struggle to get to the top. And yes, I will comply. I want to do that. I want to get to the top because the system tells me the view from the top is magnificent. Yeah, you get up there and life is good. It's so good. That is heaven on earth. You get to the top of this pyramid and you have landed in heaven on earth. And meanwhile, if you don't make it to the top, which very few of us do, right? That's just how the system is. A tiny little fraction get to make it to the top. The rest of us have to fight, dog eat dog, scrambling over each other, stepping over each other to try to get to the top. Because down here, where the rest of us are, man, it's kind of hell. It's pretty hellish for the rest of us. And yeah, that's the system. And it was designed this way, you know, again, I believe for a purpose. It was necessary. It had to happen to get us to this point, because what it did is it toughened us up mentally, right? And emotionally to struggle, to fight, to improve. You got to be better or you're going to die, man. It's excel or die in this world, or be, you know, crushed. This is what makes for a pretty robust people, you know? And we're incredible human beings, incredible. And we owe it to this training regimen that we've been through over the last 10,000 years or so, of the systems being developed, the city states and you know, kingdoms and corporations and you know, all the structures that have given form to our civilization. But I'm telling you, they've served their purpose. They have, and I'm glad. I don't hate capitalism. Capitalism served its purpose. It did what it needed to do to get us to this point right here. But now it's time to go the next step. What's that next step? I'm going to talk about that in future videos. I've been talking for an hour here. It's getting a little cold evening time here, and I think I'm going to wrap it up right now. But I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to be talking about, well, that's what the Dane of Earth channel is about. I want to talk about what the direction civilization is going. What does this transformation look like? Is it good? Is it bad? What's the best possible outcome? What are the terrible possible outcomes? But I want to talk about how. And I mentioned this in my first video. I'll go ahead and end with this. How do we get to the heaven on earth? Okay? It's not through the old institutions. I mean, that is not it. Anybody who's watching this ought to be clear on that. And there's a lot of super smart, good, loving people trying to figure out how we get to that next phase of our existence. But nobody's quite figured it out yet. You know, we don't know. We're in this liminal state, our civilization, the whole civilization in this liminal state, in between state. And people are pretty confused and disturbed, and yeah, just not sure what to do. And and I want to add some clarity to that. The guy that can't support himself in this world is going to help people figure out how to make it in the next world. So that's the premise, I guess. That's what Dane of Earth is all about. So yeah, let me go ahead and wrap it up. I'm coming up. I'm like 20 some seconds away from 1 hour I've been talking. Think about it. If I just talk like this for an hour every day, just 1 hour every day, I mean, I could crank out 3 videos a day. But then there's the editing, right? But just then, yeah, spend 4 hours editing and bam. I mean, I can create videos every single day, and that's my plan. So stay tuned. I'm going to end right now.